This podcast is sponsored by Relevant. It's a new iOS app to consolidate the media you want to see in a place you control. With Relevant, you stay up to date with things you're actually interested in. You tell Relevant what's relevant to you, and you'll be given all the content you love from all across the internet, all in one place. It's available on iOS devices and coming soon to Android. Be the first to know with Relevant.
And we're back.
What's up, everybody? We're live from the WXLV radio station, and we're the Poorly Edited Podcast. We're here with our lovely guests once again this week.
Hosts. We're hosts.
Oh, yeah.
Storm did that once.
He did.
Aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking his place, so.
Who are you?
I'm Chandler Davis.
My name is Coffee Guy. I'm having the best cup of coffee I've ever had here at WXLV. I'm very excited.
All right. My name's Patrick Lilly.
And then, as usual, we have the lovely Josh Brennan on the camera once again this week. So happy to have him. He's such a joy in our lives. And
Too nice.
Storm this week could not be here. Storm, he scheduled work for when we film, so we're trying to work with that. But yeah, so he's not here again this week, unfortunately. And I know he's the strongest part of the show, so I hope everyone bears with us, in his absence. But but we're here with our guest this week, Imaginary Ambition from YouTube. Imaginary Ambition, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, maybe tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, I'm Imaginary Ambition, also known as Andres, which is my actual name in real life, because I'm actually a real person in real life, contrary to popular belief. I make music and satirical videos about artists, genres, and just musical things in general. I don't know how else to describe it, other than that's what I do.
No, I think that's a pretty good description.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it.
I've been working on my description of myself for the past 8 months.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's getting better or worse.
How often does that come up that you have to explain that to somebody?
Well, when I hang out with people and they're like, yeah, what do you do? And I'm like, I make videos and they're funny and music.
And they think, oh, he's homeless.
Exactly.
That was almost a dead-on impression of Josh Brennan, and you've never heard him speak.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Oh, I know a lot of Joshes like that over here, too.
Really?
They all sound like that,
It's
yeah.
a stereotype.
It's a Josh
So
thing.
it's the name.
Wow.
You're born as a Josh, you're destined to talk like that.
That's unfortunate, to be honest. That's an unfortunate.
Why would you say that?
It's a double-edged sword, I'd say.
I like our Josh just the way he is. So it's fine.
Makes people lovable.
Yeah. Anyway, does any of us have anything cool going on creatively that we want to talk about or no?
No, I took that off the script because I thought we knew by now that we're not exciting enough to even talk about anything
I thought
like that.
of some video ideas.
Did you? Yeah, Pat did pitch us some video ideas for the channel a few hours ago
They
that
all got shot down.
extremely underwhelming. Yeah, I can't do any
Did
of
they
them.
all get shut down?
Oh yeah, they're all. It's just horrible.
Okay.
But I mean, he tried, and so we're gonna try to. We're
I actually ate that piece of paper.
yeah.
Okay.
Like so
While you were crying.
I know you're in the script writing class now,
I
so
am,
maybe
yeah.
you can help Pat out
Yeah.
and maybe make him come up with less bad ideas. I don't
Okay.
know if that's too tall of an order, but I think we can get there. You know, to have some things we can put to production.
I mean, there is something I want to do. And last week, I'm like, hey, Chandler, I think we should write a script for this. Can you help me? And he's like, yeah, go online. I'm like, all
Just
right.
figure it out yourself. That's exactly how he taught me how to use Premiere, so it's fine.
That's all I'm like, aren't you in a script writing class? Yeah, it was last semester.
Yeah.
And
Well, because take it next semester, and then it'll be like
do you want me to just
6 months until you know how to, No, Pat actually did pitch one good idea that I think I'm actually excited to do, and it's an esports skit that he wants to do with that one.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty hype on that, but yeah. So I mean, hopefully we'll be doing stuff like that on the channel more. So it's not just us being boring and talking, right? I mean, this is
I've talked to Pat a little bit about this. I kind of want to start writing again. I used to write when I was really young, and I've spent a couple weeks conceptualizing ideas for things.
Did you write like fan fictions and stuff?
No, I just sort of, I mean, I was really young when I wrote, and I stopped writing probably when I was like 13. So it was all me just ripping things off.
So
nice.
mostly Naruto fanfiction.
Mostly no.
I
Hey,
think,
man, you got to start writing something.
Exactly.
Somewhere.
no, I don't think
Yeah.
writing fan fiction is that bad of a thing to do if you want to hone in your writing skills.
I did it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did it for Halo.
Did you?
Yeah, that's really nerdy.
Whatever.
Andres, is Halo or Naruto fanfiction more nerdy?
That's got to
In
be
your
Naruto.
opinion?
Naruto for sure is more nerdy.
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did Halo and I didn't feel like a nerd.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying you also wrote Halo fan fiction?
No, I was on the verge of writing Halo fan fiction, but
Oh
I
my
did do a couple of like, what's it called? Like mini machinimas when I was like, what, 13?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
You did?
Halo, like the Forge and stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think everybody tried to do that because of Red versus Blue
I
at
did.
some
So
point
sick.
with some
Yeah, of course. Massive inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about Forge. Is that something that they carried on
Yeah.
through the rest of their games? Did it get better? Did it
Yeah,
get
it got
cool?
way better.
That's cool.
It
That's
did
neat.
get better. Oh my god. I
The
still
only
love it
thing I
to
like
this
about
day.
the newer Halos is how good the Forge became.
Forge
like,
got better, but I don't know about the rest of the
yeah,
quality.
You know, you got to give them credit for taking that somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
which
Maybe.
part?
The Forge thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well, I think Marathon even had level editors back when.
did it
That was-
really?
Or no, I'm sorry. Marathon had theater. That was the
Okay.
thing that they had back then. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so I got way too far. We went way too far already with
No, well.
talking about Halo. But yeah,
Oh
so
man, I want to
so
talk about Halo all day now.
really? Because all right, well, I
Welcome
think
to the Halo podcast.
I think-
Scrap the rest of this.
I think
Right?
me and you are just gonna have our own podcast where we talk about Halo. Because I'm a super fan, dude.
It's not
You know
that
what's
far
funny?
or anything.
I was very excited for Halo Reach to come out. You know, back in what was it,
Same.
2009
Oh,
ish.
yeah.
So I was anticipating that game for months and months and months. And while waiting for that game to come out, I started playing Minecraft. And that game came out, played it for a week, and I was like, no, I'm going to back to Minecraft and just play that for the rest of my life.
That's really fun.
It was such a weird part of my life when it came to video games.
Such a weird time in my weird chapter where you choose
It was a
Minecraft
strange
over
moment.
Halo.
Yeah.
I think we all put too
well-
much time into Minecraft at some point in our lives.
Definitely.
Like there's that
think so, too.
section of your life where you're like, ooh, wow, that was
Where it's just like, or it's just like a blackout where
Yeah.
Minecraft was just in it.
yeah.
Like you wake up 3 years later, you're like, what happened for 3 years?
I think it dragged a
What
lot
did
of
I
people
do?
in and like held them down like it did with WoW for so many people.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I was once. I've never
Yeah.
played really WoW. I was talking about it to somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, you don't really play WoW unless you have the full 24-hour play test, where you just don't do anything else."
I want to have that.
Well, we sort of did something
We
like
did,
that.
yeah, we did. Except we were on several different games.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, God. Should we take this somewhere? or
imagine,
what?
yeah, imaginary mission. I want to say like personally, while we're still in the the intro phase, I want to say personally, I'm a huge fan of your videos. Like, I know
Thank you.
when William Osmond was on and stuff, like a lot of you guys were like super fans. Because you had been fans of him, before he was on the show. I just kind of got into him like when he was a guest. But I mean, like your videos, I've been watching since almost you started your channel. Like I'm just a huge fan of like and like the music you do too. I'm really into. So
Which one was the first one you saw that hooked you in?
the first one I saw was like I think it was How to Joji, because that was
Okay.
a really popular video too.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
my biggest one.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of Joji's music too. So then when I saw that, and you just hit you drew me in instantly on that first video because you hit the nail on the head so well, like emulating that sound. And I was like, dude, this guy knows what's up for sure.
Oh man, I was worried. Well, actually, no, I wasn't that worried for that one because Joji is essentially lo-fi hip hop with just some singing over it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I get worried for other genres that I've never really tried.
Mm-hmm.
and I try to emulate, and I'm like, oh, I'm missing it, and my viewers are like, they can tell. But Josie was fun. That was a good video.
What were some of the ones that you were like iffy on, that you weren't? It was kind of not your area as much that you tried.
Oh man, I had a really difficult time with the Porter Robinson video.
Really?
In the aspects of music, because I still don't think I hit the nail on the head musically for that video. Although the script is probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
That one, and then a few others where it's scary, and it's weird because I try to keep myself consistent in creating content, and sometimes I'm afraid that it's gonna really affect the quality of my content. And so I'm still debating with myself whether I want to extend the amount of time that I have to really refine and polish the content, or stay consistent for growth, you know?
Right.
But balancing act, I suppose.
I think that's a balancing act that like everybody's in right now that is doing YouTube.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah. And they're pretty vocal about too, and trying to be transparent about, which I think is cool. Of like, well, I could take more time, but if I know that if I take more time, that because of how YouTube has set up their website, that it's going to make me suffer. And it's a really unfortunate predicament.
It definitely slows down.
Yeah.
I think everybody we've talked to on YouTube has said that to us.
Yeah, it's kind of it's apparent, you know, if you pay attention to like the kind of content and everything that everybody's trying to put out. But that's just, I mean, you think about it, YouTube is still more lax than working for some big production company in Hollywood or whatever, and all the deadlines and stuff that they would have. So it's kind of like, you know. Whatever.
Yeah. Like, you can't be upset. Like, you can't really be upset because it's such a privilege.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even though there's a lot of people upset right now with YouTube, especially like right this moment. But you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, it's still. I mean, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, but I would assume it's a pretty sweet gig if you can land something like that. So
yeah,
pretty relaxed.
It makes it sweeter when it's incredibly difficult at times, and then you look back and you're like, oh, that was worth it. Like the actual like struggle and sweat was worth it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they've made like breaking through that ceiling of success on YouTube so that it's so much harder now. So if you do get anywhere,
I guess that makes it more gratifying.
Yeah. The payoff's better.
Seeing the progress is always fun.
Yeah, definitely. So why did you start making YouTube videos? Like, what drew you into starting to make content like that?
That's a good question. I've been creating things my whole life. I've always been like the kid that doodles in class, or the person that's like goes home and makes some music or makes funny videos on Snapchat. Snapchat was a lot of fun when I first got my hands on it. So essentially I've just been making a bunch of things my whole life, and also playing video games because it's like my favorite way of escaping the world. But I've always been making things, and I've always been writing and doodling and filming and making music. And eventually I was like, you know what? I want to make this the thing that I do. Like, I actually want to put an effort into making art like this. And so for the longest time, I tried starting a YouTube channel, but my lack of discipline was stopping me from actually doing it. And so eventually, early 2017, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just actually going to commit for like a month and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I made that lo-fi video, and that started kicking off on Reddit. Like, I think it reached the front page, and I was like, oh my God, I have to keep going. Like, it was so exciting. So, yeah.
Did you have to do any self-promotion to get it to that point, or did you just keep putting out content?
The way that I did it for that is, on Reddit, I follow a bunch of like music subreddits, like We Are the Music Makers and EDM Production, et cetera, et cetera. So I started putting it there, like started putting my videos there, and they started getting upvoted a lot. And so I realized, well, I guess this is like a proof of concept towards people liking my content. So I put it on our videos a couple days later, and it got to the front page, and I was like,
wow,
this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is fun. But I think my videos are just like a conglomeration of everything that I like to do, because it involves comedy and creative writing, music, and filming. And I just want to really start delving into animation soon, because that's something that I've always loved for a long time. But
yeah, it's really cool.
But yeah, what content? That's me.
Mr. Content.
Those are interesting. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Those are interesting. Like, I don't know, because when I watch your videos, you struck me as a musician first. You know, like, firstly, maybe you were a musician first full time is what I was even thinking. It's like, because your insight is so deep into that side of things. And so is that more of your background? I mean, were you trained professionally or anything like that?
Music is hard. That's why I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I started off in the fine arts. Like, from middle school, I always saw myself as being a fine artist. Mm-hmm. In high school, I took a bunch of art classes, and eventually I realized that I hated painting, and that I didn't want to do that. So, like, I liked sketching a lot more, and I liked black and white a lot more than dealing with paint. I, for some reason, don't like to get my hands dirty. So I switched off majors in high school from fine arts to piano, to, like, music, because I'd been messing with the piano for a while by that point, and I really enjoyed it. It was like a constant thing in my life. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to play piano. I'm going to do music. And the reason I chose it was because I knew nothing about it. Like, it was intriguing. It was very polarizing, but I knew nothing about it. And the theory was difficult to understand, and it didn't make any sense to me. And it was so much more fun for me that way. And so, yeah, so piano was a big thing, and I kept playing, and I kept writing my own songs, and they sucked, and then I kept getting better over time. Eventually I joined a band, which is where I learned a bunch, because by then I still didn't know how to read music, but I knew chord progression.
Right. And
just practicing all of that just really solidified what music was to me, and I learned it in my own way, which makes sense in my head. But I guess you could say that, yeah, music is one of the things that I've done the most when it comes to mediums of art.
Right.
All right. And on that note, we're going to go to break quick. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere.
Right back.
And we're back.
What's up, everybody? We're back with Imaginary Ambition, Poorly Ed Podcast. Just got done talking about kind of your background as a creator, as an artist, someone interested in the arts. And yeah, so you mentioned earlier, like, talking about machinima and stuff, that you tried to make machinima videos and whatever, Red versus Blue inspired. What inspired kind of the videos that you make now? Like, are there any channels that you watched on YouTube that you're like, oh, that's really cool, I kind of want to play with that a little bit?
Definitely. In fact, probably what 80% of my channel is based off of is a YouTube channel called You Suck at Cooking, which just blew me away when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And really, like, I try not to rip it off, and a lot of people, they're like, oh, this is like the You Suck at Cooking of music, and I'm like, that's great, but at the same time, I feel kind of bad because I don't want to be like a copy, but it was definitely a heavy inspiration because it blew me away in the creativity that guy has, and the style that he chose to execute his cooking channel. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but essentially he cooks dishes in a top-down view and goes on these, like, wild, funny tangents where it's not real, but at the same time it's so funny. So that was one of the biggest inspirations. Also, another channel called Mashed and Kutcher. It's like this DJ duo, and they had a series called When You Collab, and essentially they go around and ask people if they can sing, or they like make noises on the grocery store, or on the airplane was one of their viral ones. So they make songs out of just things in the world.
I love stuff like that.
That's so cool.
So much.
And yeah, that was such a moment for me when I was like, oh my God, I can do this. Like, this is so cool. And so I kind of just meshed both ideas, and then it turned into Imaginary Ambition.
Where'd the name come from? That's a really cool name.
The name came from when I think I was 19 at the time. I was on Tumblr, and I was like, man, I need to make a cool name for my Tumblr. And Imaginary Ambition just popped into my head. And I don't know, it kind of makes sense to the kind of personality that I have. I'm ambitious, but I'm also it's kind of not real at times.
Mm-hmm.
I think it suits the content really well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's very dreamy, like really surreal sometimes, I feel like.
Right. It's very imaginative, but also
Ambitious?
I don't know. It's a mixture of all these things.
Well, at least it wasn't. I was expecting name generator. That was like, I was really hoping that wasn't the.
That would have been the best name at a name generator ever
that we've ever heard.
Does it beat Shark? I don't know.
Childish Gambino.
Childish Gambino too.
That was a good one.
Ugh.
The only good name to come out of. Whoa! Did you just throw shade at Childish Gambino's name generator name?
No, the Wu-Tang Clan name generator. That's the best. I was thinking of I got into this reverie of thought in trying to come up with new names for other projects that I wanted to do. I was like, ooh, name generators.
We've all
source
been
of
there.
inspiration. Yeah.
We've all been there for hours. That's the thing.
And you're just like, no, that's dumb. That's dumb. That's dumb.
No, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. I respect that man for days.
I know. He's people like him it's kind of like what I aspire to be. Just he's so good at everything. He wants to do something and he just goes at it so hard, it's whether it's acting or it's music or, whatever he's into, it's he just does it, and he's so triple threat,
He's so good at it. His vision is crazy when it comes to anything that he wants to do.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen his show Atlanta yet?
Yes.
No, I haven't. I wanted to though.
Yeah, I didn't see all of it.
It blew me away. The writing and the concept and the structure of all his episodes are so good. As a person that writes, even short episodes like mine that are not nearly as ambitious as his, it blows me away how he does that.
Yeah.
It's so commendable.
Yeah, oh my God. He's so welcome to the Childish Gambino podcast.
Hi, everybody.
Podcast. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see him in the Han Solo spinoff film that's coming out this year. I'm so afraid for him only, for his prospects only, being involved with that film, because my hopes are not very high for it. So I hope it doesn't hurt him. Or hurt his career at all,
I guess even if it does really well, it could end up hurting him.
Why?
Wait, what film is he going to be on?
He's going to be in the new. He's plays Lando Calrissian in the new Han Solo movie.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Solo Han Solo.
Ooh, this is news.
Well, I feel like the reviews for that are going to be the movie was bad, but Donald Glover was good.
Probably.
That's how it's going to roll.
I'll take that. Why would it be bad if it did good, though?
Well, you can look at what happened with Mark Hamill, and he had a really successful career as a voice actor, but he didn't really star in any movies after Star Wars.
He also started in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's
his first big
That's
thing.
true.
Yeah. Which is what's weird about this cast, because you have Woody Harrelson and Donald Glover, and you're just like, what's going on? Because you're not used to that. You're used to people who aren't established at all being, starring in Star Wars movies. That's how it's been, kind of. Except for Ian McKellen and Ewan McGregor and stuff like that.
Never heard of him. Wait, Ian McKellen?
Ian McKellen?
Is that his name? No, not Ian McKellen. Yeah, don't you remember? Don't you
Christopher Lee.
No, well, okay, yeah,
Because
Christopher
he was in
Lee.
like a million films.
And then no, I meant Ian McGinnis.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ewan,
that was an insanely departed different name that I
Liam
came up with.
Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson was one of them.
I thought the mix-up was a thing of Gandalf. Gandalf instead of
Well, you remember when
Sauron.
Gandalf fought Darth Vader in A New
Yeah.
Hope? Yeah.
That would have been sweet.
Last Jedi
actually was.
spoilers.
Gandalf fought Darth Vader on the Lost Ark.
We don't.
You heard it here. Oh, spoilers. For the Indiana Jones movie.
They are doing another one, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they actually are.
Yeah, I think Indy's gonna be he's
In
gonna
a
be running
wheelchair.
around with yeah on oxygen. I don't know how that's gonna go. It's gonna be a scene where he throws his tank at like some Russians and like shoots it with his revolver.
Indiana Wars, the Raiders of the Lost, something else matchup.
The ring.
Raiders of the Lost Ring.
Is that a fanfic that we just came up with? Are you gonna write that?
I think so.
It's already been written. It probably has on fanfic.net. Sponsored by shit. No, I'm just kidding. So, Imaginary Ambition. I'm just gonna keep calling you only that.
That's fine. I set myself up for that.
Well, because you don't. Yeah, honestly, because you don't show your face. You do not get personal at all with your channel. You know, it's all about the content and the vision. You know,
Of course.
You're like Daft Punk.
You're you're just so mysterious. Honestly,
Well, that's what I was shooting for from the start.
really.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. I wanted to make it about the content, not myself.
Yeah.
Really.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know if mysterious is the first word that comes to my mind. Maybe Chandler's. Like, I like that direction, but I'm not going like, I wonder who he is. Is he?
I was shooting for spooky.
You hit that way.
I want to be
without the
spooky in
mask on.
everyone's eyes. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but that's always where my mind goes with anybody that I follow. I mean, it's usually like internet personalities, you know. But anyone that I follow, it's like when they're not, you know, it's like out of this character or whatever. It's like, what are they really like? You know, I'm always so fascinated by that, of like the difference between, you know, their content and what they do and like who they are as a person, kind of like what makes, you know, that content. And so
Yeah, I think mysterious is a perfectly valid word.
yeah, but I think that's like a draw, you know. Like I remember
Of
watching
course,
like
yeah.
Filthy Frank videos, and I would watch them, and I'd be like, every video, I'd be like, I wonder, like, it's like he's so over the top. It's like, what is he like as a person? You're always thinking about that. It's drawing you in to like ask more questions,
Yeah.
and you know, yeah,
It's a lot more fun.
yeah, it is.
But it really keeps you intrigued and wondering and wanting to know more.
Unfortunately, we already used our full names and shown our faces multiple times. So we
Yeah.
can't. It's too late for us.
Yeah, you guys messed up.
You know, actually,
Start over.
Coffee Guy's looking at me right now because, like, when we first started the show, you didn't talk at all in the first episode. Actually,
He
that
said
you
one word.
did he?
Memento.
Memento.
Yeah.
Well, was that your favorite movie? Or
No, that
something?
was I
was the
won
answer
the
to the
trivia.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's been like less than 6 months.
Yeah.
I have really bad memory. But so and then I asked you to be a host, I was like, would you be okay if like we never said your name, and if we never showed your face? And then you're like, it's like, I'm okay with the name, but I mean, how are we even going to do the face thing? Like, we're hanging out all the time and we're in the same room shooting. Like, but yes, I mean,
It doesn't help that everybody slips my real name all the time either.
it's always just me.
Yeah, well,
You say everybody, but it's just
Storm.
me.
There was an episode where Storm did it like 5 times in the span of a minute.
You know what's weird is that since Storm, I hope Storm's watching at work.
Listening.
Storm, I hope you're watching from the window. No, but since Storm's been on hiatus, we have not had to ring the bell for bad jokes yet. So that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although
You have a bell for bad jokes?
yeah, we do.
Did you hear that?
Oh, sweet.
I feel like it's gonna it might happen this episode if any more ambition puns happen, because it
they
almost
have
got
to.
I
there.
think it's ambitious to think there's gonna be more.
Hey.
Check that off the
Ambitious
list.
pun.
And that's it for me. I see you guys.
See you next week.
That's a wrap. All right.
God, what were we even talking about?
All right, that was a very dangerous tangent that we got. Oh, we were talking about anonymity.
Yeah.
This is what we but yeah, so like you were talking about artists that you aren't sure and styles that you weren't sure that you were like hitting the nail on the head with. And by the way, the Porter Robinson video I thought was very good. I'm a huge fan of Porter Robinson. So when you did a Porter Robinson video, I was like, and I think you did a pretty good job. It was a really interesting take on it and stuff. So, I wouldn't be too hard on yourself about that. But what comes...
Well, I'm my worst critic, I guess.
Yeah, that's always going to be the case anytime, I guess. But except because you said, you were pretty confident with the Joji video, but everything I ever do, that's always bad consistently.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no.
Especially with my writing, like when I took a class last semester, it was just a writing course, and I would like curl up in a ball of stress thinking about how like an actual ball of stress thinking about how bad it was, and then I'd just get A's.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have no
Brag about it.
Well, I have no ability at all to be able to look at it and realistically know if it's good or not, because I'm just way too close to it.
Yeah.
To be fair, writing is probably one of the most stressful things when it comes to like art. At least for me.
Anyway.
Yeah, man, writing is just so tough sometimes.
Well, because it's like I feel like anybody can write. Like anybody has the ability to take pen to paper or type in a word processor. So but unlike that, anybody makes videos or something, like anybody plays the guitar, like that's not as common. So the fact that anybody writes, and that's such a basic human function in everyday life, and there's writing everywhere all the time, reading, that it's so easy to be critical of it because there's just it's such a pillar.
Such a broad, yeah. It's so accessible, I guess, to everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point, because if you know how to play an instrument, you can sort of fall back like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know how to play this. I know the theory. Like, I can write a song.
Yeah.
It might not be great, but...
Right.
But I know how to do it as opposed to a lot of other people that can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Or like I could criticize you, but I also don't know how to play any instruments. So like... I'm not going to do that.
So you're doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great. The best musician I've ever seen.
Well, you actually have to write you have to write an entire film script.
Well, it's a 10-page film script.
It's a doozy.
So it's like 10 minutes long.
Believe it or so, you know how he tells you to not wait until the last minute to write that?
No.
Okay, well, you shouldn't do that, and he will tell you that later.
That is good general advice.
I waited until the night before the 10 pages were due. I did not sleep the entire... Like, I wrote literally from the time I got home the night before to when I had to leave to go to that class in the morning.
I'm not surprised at all.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's the best.
And I got an A, dude. And I was like, yo.
That's going to get
That's the best and worst thing to do when you're, like, edging on that pressure and creative flow of things.
Yes.
You're like, oh, this is due in an hour. I better hustle it up right now, because that's where the best ideas come from sometimes.
Yeah. Like,
just intense pressure.
I loved the feeling at the time. Like, when it was happening, I was like everything that I was writing, I was just more confident about. And that, like, pressure weighing down on me was just like, we got to get it done. It's just crunch time. And I love that feeling.
The worst part of that is the 2 weeks prior when you're procrastinating.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what's coming.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
And you know you're not going to do it on time.
Nah.
You know what else is
No,
coming?
you keep lying to yourself. You're like, yeah, no, I'm going to do this first. And then I'm going to do my laundry and wash these dishes and play 16 hours.
My room needs to be cleaned right now.
I don't know if I procrastinate by doing house chores.
I wish. That would be great.
That'd be very
I
productive.
do nothing. I just sit.
All right, we're gonna go very quick.
We will be right
Wow,
back.
what a chore.
All right. And we're back.
Hey, that was a really quick commercial break.
The same length as usually are.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. Well, you're the guy, I
That
guess.
settles that.
You're the one that times
The
it.
jury's in.
Here's a stopwatch. So, imaginary ambition.
Hey, it's me, Imaginary Ambition. It's your boy.
She got a name tag.
Yeah, well, we can't say it.
I've got my name tag on actually. Right
Really?
now.
Good. Yeah, me too.
Good.
Hello, my
Yeah, so that people know who I am.
yeah.
Just nobody can see it.
Hello, my name is Imaginary Ambition. The red
Yeah.
sticker. All right. So do you decide on what video you're gonna do next and what you're gonna settle on for an artist you're gonna cover or a sound you're gonna cover? Do you do that by like trend more, or do you do it by, are these artists all that you're really into that you think about doing these videos for?
Oh, that's a fun question. So I have a criteria for the next topic,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess it's based on like a priority system where I have three check marks, I guess. The first one being the trending topic, the market and what they want.
Right.
The second one being how achievable it is for me to do it with a set amount of time that I have,
Mm-hmm.
like how doable it is. And then the third one is if it excites me enough to do it. And so that's what I base myself off of. So, for example, the Joji one,
Right.
it wasn't that trending. So I was about to write it off. I was like, maybe I'm not going to do Joji. But one guy had requested it, and I was like, that's enough for me, because I was excited. I was like, I love Joji. Let's make his music. And then I saw that he was starting to get really big on his music. And so I saw it kind of like as a weird investment. I was like, if it works, it will probably do well. If it doesn't, then worst case scenario, I get 2,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's fine. But yeah, I try to base it off the trending topic and then how achievable it is for me to do, and then if it excites me or not.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good process, I guess, to go by. Good thing you went for it and did the Joji video.
Yeah.
Caught that at an amazing trending time, honestly. Like, that was right as he was just coming out to say, hey, I'm doing serious music full time, and like then that blew up like in the media, and like it was just
it was wild. Yeah.
There's
another thing that when I released that video, 3 hours prior to me releasing it, he had released a video on his Filthy Frank channel.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just relevant topics at the same time and just really boosted my video up.
Yeah.
That was fun.
So
it was a good time.
So you have a lot of music on SoundCloud,
nice.
and
I do.
A lot of that music, some of that music, I've listened to all of it because I'm really into some of like the early stuff that you did on there.
Thanks, man.
But so a lot of it's now from the videos that you make, byproducts of like the full tracks of the videos that you make. But do you have any songs that you're really passionate about that you have up on there that might not be from your videos or anything? Like, what is some of that early stuff all about?
There's a lot of early stuff that I'm really happy about because it was legitimate music that I wanted to make, that I wanted to, I don't know, I guess popularize. So the first song that I became really proud of was one called Never Stop. And so it was like my first lo-fi song. It was like almost 2 years ago that I made it. And I was really proud of it. The next song was a collaboration that I did with a really good vocalist here in San Diego. And also really proud of how that one came out. And it was the first time I mixed vocals, so that was a learning experience. But then pretty much everything after that was for the videos. Uh-huh. And I haven't really had a chance to make music for myself, I guess.
Right.
Because I keep making music for the videos and just no time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I want to get back to making some independent music.
What kind of music would you make if it was for yourself?
Currently, I'm thinking of making a... You know what, guys? I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
I'm just happy you'll be back.
It's a little too much.
No, I'm going to be here every week now.
Good. Okay, I'm fine with that.
From now.
Let's do
it. What kind of music would I make?
No, it's not.
Right, I'll move over to, where are you guys based at? Pennsylvania?
Penns Woods. Yeah. No, how about we come to you? Is that okay? I would much rather be over there than here.
I have a very comfortable couch.
That's
Okay.
sure.
So,
I'm
can it
down.
fit 3?
Yeah.
We all just spoon.
Yeah, it can
on
fit
this
2
couch.
people. You guys are gonna have to like lay on top of each other and like in stacks.
Oh, that's just efficient,
But-
man.
That's fine.
Right.
It's fine. What else? I mean, it's
Efficiency
the
at its
same way
finest.
we sleep now.
Right. Yeah. I was
So-
actually thinking the same thing.
Right. Why have it any other way? Is what I say.
We just had the Caddy McAuliffe walk in the studio a second ago. By the way, we got all really distracted.
One of our first guests.
Yeah, one of the OGs, just here, just
Ooh.
hanging out. Are you just hanging out? Just hanging. You're that bored today.
Wow. Me too.
It's really a low point this Monday if you're here. So yeah, like when you make your music and when you're making your videos, what kind of programs do you use for that? Are they like the Adobe Suite, or what are you into? What do you?
I'm into using my hands. You know, I use these little hands, and I
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
just
just-
like craft it. You just like mold it
Yeah,
all
it's-
in your hands. Do you
wiggle
like
my
cut
hands
the
around.
film, like physically?
of course.
Scissors.
Why
Measure
why do it any other way? No, I use Ableton Live for music.
Okay,
That's my jam, and for editing, I use Premiere,
nice.
and sometimes I use After Effects, but I haven't really gotten super familiar with it.
After Effects is so hard.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I've only used it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I do have the whole. You know how like Adobe is doing that Creative Cloud thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do.
So so I have all of them, but I only use like 2 of them at a time. So I really want to get into, Adobe Animate, and Illustrator and other stuff seems so
Yeah.
cool. But,
Well, yeah, because you said you want to do animation. What are you even thinking? Like, how is that even going to work? Would that go on what you're currently doing, like Imaginary Ambition, or?
yeah. Well, I want to start off with baby steps of like making maybe title cards that are animated,
Right.
Yeah.
and the rest is film, and then just slowly work my way towards animating maybe a character or just effects and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just spice things up. But it's still something that excites me a lot that I still want to do.
Go for it.
But I know I can't like draw a full scene or a character yet. But
Right.
Maybe step my way up there.
That's how you got to do it.
So something I wanted to ask about was, what are you doing? What is that?
Nothing to worry about it.
He's
We're
making
just
all kinds of hand
we're
signals.
sending secret messages back and
when
forth.
I look up.
See you later, Josh. Thanks so much
Did
for
this camera
hanging
already
out.
die? I think it did.
That's fine.
We'll see.
Good.
We'll see.
We're good.
But so I saw when YouTube ads come up, if the person is loud enough, and because I have a very poor attention span, if they're yelling at me enough and they seem exciting, I will actually sometimes watch a YouTube ad by accident because I just get like ensnared. Yeah, so that's where your ad revenue is coming from. No, but so I've seen this one ad running recently that's very like in Ty Lopez fashion, kind of with the whole self-starter deal.
Yeah.
His name is Kong, I think he goes by.
Yeah.
And he actually mentions your channel in his recent ads that he's been running of
Yes.
he was involved.
I've seen this ad. It trips me out because I see myself and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's me. I'm in an ad.
Right.
That looks familiar
But-
from somewhere.
So what is the story behind that? Like how involved are you guys at any point involved, or is he
So-
using it as an example? Like,
Essentially, what happened is, I'm telling you, I've been meaning to start this channel. I had been meaning to start this channel, and eventually, Jump Cut. It's a company that's essentially like how do you describe it? It's like a college class for content creation and
Right.
starting up a YouTube business, essentially. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. So I signed up for it, and I learned a bunch through their lectures and their videos and their stuff. And one day they started a boot camp, like a challenge. And so if you won, you got like $100, and you got mentored by like the owners of Jump Cut.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that's cool. I want to do that. I want to get a mentor to like learn faster. And so yeah, I joined it. That's what really got me to start working on videos and, you know, stop being lazy and stuff. And eventually,
I'm sorry.
yeah, okay. So eventually, my video got their attention, and I won part of the competition. And yeah, they mentored me. Not Kong as much, but Jesse, the other guy.
Yeah, the
And
owner.
yeah. So for 6 weeks, we met up like on a video call once a week, and I was like, "Yep, I'm making videos," and he would give me pointers of what to do better, how to manage, I guess the self-promotion and marketing a little bit better. So just pointers on not just content creation, but everything that comes with YouTube in general, you know, analytics and stuff like that. So yeah, it was definitely very helpful.
So would you say that's like that was like the pivotal moment for like the growth of your, like taking that step of being, you know, the inaction and the fear of, you know, taking that big leap and then getting the insight to drive you to where you're at now?
More than anything, it was the accountability towards people that I respected that really got me to, you know, just get up my butt and start working.
Wow. And those are the guys.
What's up?
And those were the guys that you were, you know, interested in proving yourself to.
Yeah. Yeah, I followed their stuff for a long time. They're great. They're great people.
So would you recommend what they're doing at Jump Cut to anyone aspiring to make it, you know, in any of these social media platforms as a content creator?
Yes, I would. They probably have some of the more practical and, I guess, golden nuggets of information than any other. Well, I haven't really tried any other place for learning, but
well,
yeah,
I mean,
I guess
they seem to have treated you very well. You know, it seems to have worked pretty well for you.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, I would recommend it, but and this is what I tell a lot of people that are trying and aspiring, like, they think it's just you make videos and you have fun and then you make it, and it's not really just that. It's your own business, essentially.
Right.
So you have to take it seriously, and it's not just content creation. It's marketing. It's trying to figure out how to grow as fast as possible, having a strategy for what you're going to do, and it's a lot of time that you have to dedicate towards this thing. So it's definitely not easy, but it's very rewarding, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right. And on that note, we're gonna cut to a break quick.
Pat's always he's killing the flow with the commercial break. We're right back.
All right, and we're back.
And we're back. All right, so sorry. Oh, my headset my headphones just fell off. What?
What are we giggling at?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Nothing big.
It's just
Behind
talking
the
about
scenes
you.
stuff. Yeah. Throwing mad shade.
Good.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love the shade. Keeps me cold during the summer.
It sure does. Yeah, you're right.
Is it? Oh, bye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
Bye.
Bye again, Josh.
See you, Josh. Love you.
See-
Bye.
Oh, he's so great.
He's way too nice to us.
He's way too nice to us. Yeah, that's true. You know those people that are just, I don't think they have another setting, you know? Like they're just up there all the time with positivity.
Yep.
And you're just like, how?
Changed his work schedule permanently to be here with us every week.
Yeah. He's a dog.
Yep,
What dedication
I know.
any of us
right?
have committed to.
I love that.
Storm's
Love
actually
those
done the
kind of people.
opposite of that.
We found out he was getting married, and while we were happy, we are like, there goes our chance.
Yeah. It's going to be all
Let's try to
Taken.
lock that down.
Dreams
doing all
ruined.
that. Yeah. He's,
You know what my favorite thing about really positive, good people?
what?
Makes you feel bad about yourself?
Well, besides that, it's just very easy to take advantage of. You know, it's so fun.
So true.
No, it's right.
Yeah.
Love you, Josh.
I'm joking. Don't take advantage of people like that.
Yeah,
You heard it
Josh
here.
is already crying.
Yeah.
You heard it here first,
He's
everybody.
crying in his car right now. So, you had a question that you just told me about that I already forgot.
Yeah, when we were talking about your SoundCloud, I didn't know about your SoundCloud until a couple hours ago, actually, and I was just listening to all this stuff on there. You do actually have a somewhat wide range of genres that you have on there, so I was curious to know what your favorite kind of genre to write was.
Oh man, that varies a lot. I still really like electronic-based genres. I love the sound of the synthesizer. I love the dynamics that you could have with electronic music. But at the same time, I'm also a very mellow person, so I still really love lo-fi hip-hop. It's just so moody and simple.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's a difficult question. I wouldn't know how to answer that. I'm going to stick with more electronic-based genres.
That's a good answer, but you're wrong, unfortunately.
So when is the
You're
Daft
fired.
Punk? When's the Daft Punk video coming out?
Yeah, your mysterious electronic music.
Ooh, that's okay. Daft Punk. What would you guys expect to see on that video? How would you want it to
helmet.
go?
Not
A helmet.
Face.
A lot of, well, definitely the kind of, a lot of those older synth, like I'm thinking like more of a Discovery kind of sound, you know?
Uh-huh.
So like those kinds of 90s synthesizers and the very electronic vocals.
I guess
You know,
Very
jokes about,
classic.
bringing on Pharrell Williams, stuff like that, I guess would do well.
You might
Yeah, that would do well.
Might be a terrible idea. We should do a Frank O'Connor episode.
Who is that?
The composer for Halo. I think that's his name.
No, it's Marty O'Donnell.
Marty
Frank
O'Donnell.
O'Connor
Mario Donald,
is
the original voice.
the current lore master for 343, but he was one of the original members of Bungie.
At
But
least
yeah,
I still hit Halo.
Marty O'Donnell got fired,
That's good.
so yeah,
Oh man,
He's still
that hurts my soul.
it hurts my soul. Yeah.
He's still cool.
And then it got so ugly though. There's like this like copyright dispute that he went into with them because it was a really ugly breakup
Awkward.
from Bungie. Yeah, and that sucks because he was one of the original founding like members, you know, and he was really involved with like play testing and like just overseeing. He wasn't just a composer, in that company. He was like so deeply rooted in the development process for those games. I don't know. It's just like
That must
weird.
have felt real bad.
Yeah. Well, it's because there's barely any of those guys left from the original Bungie,
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad we went full circle. I'm sorry.
It did. We managed to
did.
get back to Halo by the end of the show. That was really good. I'm excited about
We've
that.
come full circle.
Just like a Halo.
We're-
Bring the
Very ambitious.
Hey, that was good. Proud of all of us.
Well, this is the last show. So. We just got canceled. So recently, I kind of wanted to get this in, squeak this under the wire, and just to see how it affected you and what's been going on. Because we talked about YouTube a little earlier, but I know there's a lot of changes that's happened to the platform recently, and I don't know if it's like your main source of income, full time, or if it's just something you're doing on the side that's supplementing. But I mean, with all the changes going on and all the kind of unrest that's on YouTube right now, I mean, what are your thoughts on like what's going on, and has it affected you adversely at all?
Not really. I don't really plan on ad revenue to be my main source of income ever, because it's not viable.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been viable since I started, because I started right after the
apocalypse.
the age-old adpocalypse.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that until you said that. That's true though. Yeah.
So I've never really worried about ad revenue. It's nice. I just see it as a bonus, but I mean, yes, if I had started prior to that and was making most of my money from that and then just got slashed in half, I would be salty. But
right
now I'm just focusing on making content and working on as many projects as I can, because I'm eventually going to, release merch and work on other stuff to monetize. But
well, that's exciting.
yeah, I'm not too worried. If anything, like worst case scenario, I stop making videos and I go work at Starbucks.
Nice.
That's where most of us
We're planning on pumping gas and living in boxes. We've talked about that extensively.
Yeah.
So,
Although, Wait, when are we gonna
Pumping gas.
Yeah, there's only one
Pump
state
gas.
left.
What is that?
Yeah.
Is there really only one state that?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Huh.
Oregon recently, I think, got rid of that.
Well, I think you
They
can
did.
still. Like they're getting rid of it.
Yeah, and they were all very
Yeah,
upset.
everyone has
They
to
were
pump their
very
own gas now in
confused.
Oregon.
Well, it's hard. So yeah, it's fine.
Where does it go? Where do I? Which hole does it go in? Is my question.
Yeah,
Every time.
I don't ever see the gas, so I don't really believe it's there.
that's a
honestly.
good point.
That's
They're
true.
probably
How do you
just
know?
taking my money. What if you don't actually need to fill your car up?
Oh, this goes all the way to
You
the
have to
top.
taste test it first.
Taste test it first.
Make sure it's real. Sometimes they cheat you and they do whiskey instead of gas, and it's not
Oh.
fun.
I've heard. Yeah, I've
That
heard
seems
about
more
that.
expensive, but I
It's
Yeah.
it's the second time my
Falling apart.
headphones have fallen off my head.
yeah, Champ was real fun.
Yeah. Can I get? I just should put earbuds in. I think they're broken. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right, we're gonna
What?
have to close it up soon.
Are we?
Wow.
Are we gonna?
unfortunately.
Are you gonna? You gonna do the thing?
What thing?
You gonna do the?
No, I don't think.
No?
I think we're just doing some closing words,
Oh,
right?
all right.
What do you want?
Pat?
I'm so confused.
Well, because you prepared. You prepared a
You wanna
little.
do
You
trivia?
you prepared a dance number that you asked if we
Nice.
would like to perform in front of everybody. No.
For all our visual
Alright,
Yeah,
watchers,
just hit us with it, dude.
Okay.
Sure.
we're gonna do trivia. If you didn't get that,
This is purely for me.
because I don't think you
They
said.
made me come up with this and then realized we didn't need it.
Yeah, nice.
That sounded good.
Excuse me.
5 out of 10.
But out of 10, what was that?
I'm gonna,
5.
Ah, bummer.
Alright. So I'm gonna give each of you are gonna get the name of a musician,
Okay.
and they're all in multiple bands.
Okay.
And each band you tell me is a point. And sound good, Andres?
Okay.
Who is
What?
first?
Oh,
Are you listening at all?
wait, what?
We're gonna play a little game. So
You're very low. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
can
He's
barely
a
hear
very
you.
monotone,
Yeah.
sad voice.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I can't. Is this a little
Forget
bit
It's
him.
depressing. I'm getting upset.
Should we get
makes
rid of
I'm
him
just,
for
I'm
you,
just
or-
joking. No, I'm joking.
I'm gonna give you the name of
of a person?
of a
He's in
person,
multiple bands, and you have to
musician.
figure out what bands he's in.
yeah. So you all get different
Okay. Okay, I'm
Let's go
terrible
first.
at this, but I'll do my best.
Okay. We're gonna get Coffee Guy first.
Okay.
All right. Alex Turner.
No idea. No bands. I told
Oh,
you.
he's in. Wait, can I answer this one?
You can steal.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's not only a solo musician, but also in Arctic Monkeys.
Oh,
Ooh,
true. Does
wow.
anyone know
Yeah,
what
I
other
told you
band
I'm-
he's in?
I do.
What is it?
Say it.
The name that I get wrong all the
Oh, yeah.
time. It's Last Shadow Puppets.
Oh, you nailed it.
Is that the name?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Him and Miles Kane.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Nice.
Shannon, this one's for you. Actually, I'm gonna give this an imaginary ambition just because.
You know I'll do too well.
No, I'm sure. Dave Grohl.
Do I get Dave
No,
Grohl?
no, you don't get
Ah.
Dave Grohl.
Oh, Dave,
He's gonna do well.
Dave
too.
Grohl's in what's his face? I know the name of the songs he plays, but I keep forgetting the band.
Do you know,
Wait.
do you know his other band?
This is embarrassing.
This is embarrassing.
So he was in Nirvana as a drummer. I
There
know
you go.
that,
Okay,
but
alright.
I don't know the. I don't remember the new band.
the new.
What? Do you mean like?
The newish,
Say it.
the,
Say it.
his more recent band, if you
Foo
will.
Fighters.
All right.
And then can I
That
do
one,
another?
yeah.
And then them Crooked Vultures.
True.
Yeah.
I got a point.
He
You got a
did.
point. You made
Good
it.
job.
All right, Chandler, this one's for you. This is a tough one too. Paul McCartney.
Oh, that's unfortunate because I only know. I mean, he has the solo stuff, and then he has the
I'm not
Beatles.
yeah, I should have prefaced. I'm not counting solo stuff.
Oh, of course
a lot
not.
Of these guys have solo.
Yeah, of course not. That'd be too easy, and I'd get too many points, I guess. So we're gonna amend that right before I say it.
Can I go?
Yeah.
I was going the entire time. Wait, let me go.
Yeah, I don't. Oh,
Did you even say the obvious one?
Yeah, I said the
Okay,
Beatles.
okay. He was only one other one. I didn't actually know.
He
that.
did a song with Michael Jackson.
Not that.
Oh,
Band on the run. The Wings.
Yep.
Ooh.
really?
The Wings.
I
All right. Going back around. Coffee Guy. Dan Auerbach.
I forget who this guy is. Man,
good.
isn't
Good.
he?
sounds good.
Jeez.
Just like his music.
I don't. Thank you.
Another bell ring.
I
jinxed it.
actually knew this at one point, but because I'm under pressure, I don't know.
It doesn't
so
help
just
us.
Would anyone
take
like
It
to
doesn't
steal?
help us here. No, I have no idea.
Andres, do you know who Dan Auerbach is?
No, unfortunately.
Okay. That's a shame. He's in the Arcs and the Black Keys.
I was too
how did-
afraid to say the Black Keys. I
Of
was
course,
nervous.
it's the Black Keys.
The-
Of course,
So I
Patrick
went into-
throws a Black Keys
I went
question
into
in.
accumulating this list, and I'm like, all of these are guitarists for bands I already listened to. I tried to diversify it. These are the only ones that came up. All right, Imagine Ambition. This one's for you, Damon Albarn.
Oh, my boy Damon.
Dude, inspiration.
Oh man, I don't know.
My boy,
I don't know where
David.
he's from.
You don't?
Oh, really?
I don't.
Wow, that's
David
awesome.
Albarn's another one of those guys that's just so multi-talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. I know he's British.
Okay.
That's actually
I just-
a point. Yep,
That's
he's British.
pretty good.
Oh. Is he the creator of Gorillaz? Or
Yeah,
is that,
Ooh.
Yes,
got
he
it.
is. He's not just the creator.
Okay.
He's pretty much the only gorilla. He
Okay.
does everything.
This one I didn't know at all, but do you know the second band he was in? Anybody?
I know that he was in a British rock band before
'Cause
the
I have a
Gorillaz,
very big hint because it's the only song of them I know. I knew the song. I didn't know he was in it.
but I cannot remember the name of it.
Song 2 is their most
Yeah,
famous
see,
song.
Song 2, Blur.
Yeah.
He's in Blur.
nice.
That makes me
Alright,
so mad.
this one's for Chandler. Johnny Marr.
I don't know at all.
You know?
No,
I
the
didn't-
Black Keys.
Oh wow, you
The
get
Strokes?
you get 3 points. No,
Those are the
You're
two
close
bands
with the
Pat listens
Strokes.
to. Really?
kind
Are
of.
you just naming bands? You know?
Yeah. Different Strokes.
That's. Does anybody know Johnny Marr?
I
'Cause I had no idea who this guy was.
Oh wow.
Caddy, you want to steal? Oh, he's in the Smiths and he was in a Modest Mouse album.
Oh, I love Modest Mouse.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was though. All right, this one. Coffee guy, Jack White. This one's good for 3 points.
Isn't
The old
man.
Jack White.
Good old Jack White.
Isn't the-
Old man music.
Wait, who's this for? 'Cause I'm about to.
This is for coffee
This
guy.
is for me.
Coffee. Do it. Take
Yeah,
it.
I'm having another one of those moments though, so you might be able to steal in
He's
a
gonna
second.
Imaginary's gonna go
Please
in.
tell me you get at least one.
He's gonna go in right
Why?
now.
I'm
Why?
pouncing.
Why do you think I know who these people are? Pat?
Okay, all right, fine.
It's like you play guitar.
Alright,
You should
Andres.
know these.
Yeah, I don't even like the
Andres.
guitar.
So
Hit-
he's
just a toy.
Jack White is doing solo stuff that's really good, and he's also
He is,
like, I don't know if he still or was also or in the. I don't know if he's still in
Isn't he Black
the White
Keys?
Stripes.
White Stripes,
Stripes.
that's what it is.
Oh my god.
That's why I was embarrassed you didn't know his name because it's the name of the band's like half his actual name.
I think you had me learn like a little riff of his.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Seven Nation
The first-
Army. It was
yeah.
a song no one's ever heard of.
Oh no, I thought that was
That
something
nobody can
different.
play on guitar either.
Nobody. All right. Does anyone know the other two bands he's in? Because they're lesser known.
The Doors.
I don't know.
He was in the Dead Weather, which no one's ever heard of, and
Nope.
the Raconteurs, who did like.
Mm.
This is a terrible game. No one knows
It's
these.
canceled. This is canceled. We're canceled. Canceled that game.
This is for Imagine
If this is
Ambition.
if this is another old man band, then we're gonna
Guys, we're
put
skipping that.
All these bands are alternative rock and
yeah,
indie.
because Pat is not diversified in his music taste. He's very
Don't, dude, this one's real current.
okay.
Eric Clapton.
No joke, I've only heard Eric Clapton on his solo work.
Same.
Yeah, I have two.
What?
He was in Cream and the Yardbirds. That's because.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
very
see, I
bad
have no
names.
clue.
Yeah. You might know this one.
I'd probably not. The way
Josh
this is-
Homme.
No,
Home.
Patrick, you're fired. It's the last
Does anybody know
time.
this?
You're walking home.
Does anybody know this?
You know what?
No? All right.
Coffee guy's getting the show next time.
Sounds good.
He's getting second.
He's in
floor.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh really?
Them Crooked Vultures and the Eagles of Death Metal.
That was a pretty good one.
That was a pretty good one that no one's ever heard. All right.
Yeah.
So after that terrible game, Imaginary Ambition wins,
Really?
Yay.
and he wins us sleeping on his couch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Remember when we used to have prizes for
Sweet.
people?
Yeah, it's us
Yeah.
sleeping on his couch. That was a prize no
That's
matter
a
what.
good prize.
He just
Yeah.
happened to win.
Yeah.
I know we actually have to stop.
Yeah.
So
Well, we we hope you enjoyed us talking here with Imaginary Ambition. Andres, I hope
It's me.
you I hope that you had a good time. We loved having you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's been a blast.
It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you guys for having me. It was such a privilege to be here.
Well,
It was a
I
fun
don't-
time.
that.
I don't know.
Very enjoyable. No, you guys have a really nice logo.
Thank you.
Oh,
says P.
thank you so much. It's the first time anyone's ever said that.
Well, I guess
I like how that's all he could say. Is like, well, you have a nice logo.
I really like the best part about the Phil podcast was the logo.
Yeah.
It was
That's what we were going for. That's what it's all about.
No, but in all seriousness, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for having
So
me.
much. We've had a blast. We hope you have an amazing night, day. I don't know what time it is there, but
It's still in America.
Still-
It's not like it's that far away.
it's like 4 hours only.
Yeah.
It's getting dark.
Well, it's been dark here, so enjoy it. But
No, it's 2 p.m. over here. It's not dark at all.
Okay.
thank you all for listening so much. Poorly Named Podcast. We're signing out.
Where can we
What?
find Andres? Imaginary Ambition on
Oh,
YouTube?
jeez.
Oh yeah. Where can we
Okay.
hit you up?
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
YouTube.com/imaginary ambition. That's one of the spots. I've also got Facebook, and mostly just hit up my YouTube channel, Imaginary Ambition. That's where I'm at.
All right, real quick, you two. Coffee guy, you have anything to plug?
No.
All right.
No.
Chandler?
Sly Elliott coming out, my new demonetized channel as of February. So awesome.
Yeah.
It's going well.
Thanks, YouTube.
All right. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you
Thanks for
next
listening. Bye.
See you next week, everybody.
See you
Yeah.
next week. He'll be here.